at it again. RIC in the place to be. Rick Serritella telling it like it is, along with Amanda Ruller here on the State of Football. It's your home for real football talk in the mornings. And man, we ain't sleeping much around these neck of the woods. One day before the 2022 NFL draft in Las Vegas, breaking it all down with you here on the early morning. SI.com in the building. Amanda Ruller in the building. Rick the Ruller in the building. Jam-packed show lined up. Amanda, how you feeling this morning?
I'm really good. Thank you for having me back. It's been a long time, I feel like.
It's been way too long. Yeah, way too long. And that's how we do on Wednesdays. If you don't know now, you know. The State of Football back all week long for the 2022 NFL Draft. I'll be live up in your living rooms tomorrow with the Thursday suspects. We'll have Dan Vandernat from NFL PA Bowl. Neal Stratton from Inside the League will be checking in. We have Ed Kratz and Nick Fierro from the Sports Illustrated beat, and they'll be talking some Eagles and Bills. Oh boy, we got so many great guests. We got the draft ninja Bo Marchant checking in tomorrow. It's going to be incredible. Don't miss that. Don't miss today. We got Brian Baldinger from NFL Network, good friend of the show, hopping on. We're going to talk about Baldy's bests. We got TJ Hammond from Arkansas. We got Bobby Greco from the NFL Draft Bible. I mean, what more do you want out of life? Roman Oben from the league office up on Park Avenue, breaking it down, chopping it up. It's the State of Football. Let's get into our first guest. He might be a yellow jacket around here on the State of Football. He's been on the show 3 or 4 times. He is Julius Chestnut, the running back out of Sacred Heart. Amanda, I don't know if you had a chance to peep this young man, but he is a wrecking ball in the backfield. He can run, he can catch, he can block. He's got size, he's got speed. Any thoughts before we welcome him into the show?
Yeah, I just got a chance to check him out online, and I was really impressed with his pro day numbers. So we could probably talk about that and get into that a little bit, because obviously I went to the NFL Combine, so I'm familiar with what the numbers should be. So I think he's on par to make it, and I'm excited for him. And exactly, we see some numbers there. So
Yeah,
I want to chat about it a little bit more. So we'll get into it.
let's do it. Let's get him on the show. I know he was training with my fellow paisan, Tony Villani, down there at XPE. Julius Chestnut, welcome back to the State of Football. What's happening?
Nothing much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Where are we checking in from this morning? What part of the country?
I'm in Maryland right now, back at home. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you went south on us. Rick Serritella here at the Jersey Shore. Amanda Ruller up in Canada. What part of Canada? I forgot to ask you. Are you in today, Amanda?
Saskatchewan, to be specific.
Back home.
Like North Dakota.
Okay, back home, getting ready for the McMaster football season, I should mention. And Julius Chestnut getting ready for NFL Draft Week. By the way, love your parents. Had a chance to meet them out at the NFL PA Collegiate Bowl. And we were talking about that on yesterday's show off the air with some scouts. Just, the family background goes a long way into the character. When you're evaluating players at the next level, everyone's evenly talented. It's, can I work with this guy? What kind of background does he come from? So before we get into between the lines, take us through Maryland, where you're at, your hometown. Paint the picture for us. What's going on down there? Crab cakes? What do you got cooking?
Oh, definitely got some crab cakes. Oh, yeah, we stay with the seafood over here. But, I grew up, both of my parents, mom and dad, oldest sister, very close to her. They're basketball people, but I chose the football route. But growing up, they always been supportive of me. That, as you can tell, they still are. My mom's very much into the social media part of it more than my father, but they're definitely supportive of me. And my grandma as well. She stayed by my side as well. So definitely growing up in Bowie, Maryland, it's been a tough journey, but it's great.
No, that is great. It's great that you're surrounding yourself too with great people. We mentioned Tony Villani down there at XPE. I know he had you on the shred mill, and I know Amanda wanted to get into a little bit about your pro day numbers. You had a good workout there, so I'll kick it off to her.
Yeah, I definitely, I'm a running backs coach myself, so I was really excited to see a 4.47 40, a 34.2 5 vert. That is amazing. 22 bench. I just thought your numbers were amazing, strong, powerful. Was there lots of buzz around your numbers? Were you excited to get that on your pro day? What was kind of the result after seeing everything unfold that day?
Definitely was exciting. That was my main goal was to get below a 4.5.
Mm.
I kind of missed what I wanted on a bench press by a few. I kind of wanted 24, 25, but 22 is still decent. Um, 34 was something I wasn't expecting. I didn't know I could jump that high, but I mean that's what the training was for. Tony Villani and Matt Gates down there at XPE did a tremendous job, as you can see from the combine results, and as you can see with our pro day results. So now they definitely prepared me well to get to that point. So I mean, it wasn't surprising to them or to me, but it definitely, I feel as though, shocked a few different people.
Yeah, for sure. I was even kind of looking down at your breakdowns of your splits in like 10s and 20s. And even I was at the NFL combine and sitting with the scouts, that's what they look at, right? Is sometimes the 10s and 20 splits. And it's awesome to hear like you worked so hard to get under that 4.5 and you did it. And you kind of put up some impressive numbers. So I'm really excited for that. And especially when you're doing your sprint training, it correlates to your vertical jump. So amazing results and congratulations on that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and
Of
at close
course.
to what 228 pounds. What do we check? What are we tipping the scales at this morning,
Yeah.
Julius?
Around there, 230, 228.
Yeah, 6 foot, 230. Making defenders make business decisions in the open field, but don't sleep because he'll put a little spin move on you. He'll give you a little shake and bake. He'll take it to the house out of the backfield. We've seen you do it all. For the listening audience at home, they should be familiar with your game because you've been on the show here enough. But we love spotlighting the small school guys. We've had FCS guys on all week long because that's what we do here on the State of Football, real football talk. And so for the listening audience at home that might be tuning in for the first time, just finding out about you, and a Walter Payton Award finalist, I should mention, give the audience at home a little a self-scouting report on yourself. What are they going to see? What are the scouts watching when they pop in your game film?
Definitely gonna see power and great vision. To me, I feel as though that's some things that I take away from watching myself is what can I do better vision wise or feet work wise or something like that, to make sure that the power of the way I'm built is the way I'm supposed to run, but at the same time is more of what can I bring to the game. So I feel as though my vision and my feet work um, is my feet work. I take pride in, so I feel as though it's impeccable to compare to different people as my size. So um, my feet work is great, and like you said before, I can catch out of the backfield, and I work on that a lot. Best friend is the quarterback, so I'm throwing with him almost every day when we're off season. So it's different things that I bring to the table that I like to take pride in, to show that I have versatility and I can do different things. But it's tough to say what I can't do, not to be cocky, but it's a lot that I can do on a upscale.
No doubt about it. Julius Chestnut here on the State of Football. Rick Serritella, Amanda Ruller, breaking it down, chopping it up, real football talk. And listen, we could all be better pass protectors at the next level. I know that, Julius. So there's one thing we can all get better at, myself included. And
Absolutely.
so, you made the All-Star rounds too, and it was cool because Dane Vandernat, who we'll have on the show tomorrow, the executive director of the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, he could tell you, like, back in August, I was like pounding the table. We got to get Julius in the game. We got to have Julius in the game. And it was cool because I think it was Coach Jonathan Hayes, who also former Bengals line coach, and I think he was a head coach at the XFL the last go around, and he was and the scouts came in and kind of talked to the coaches, gave them the lowdown on all the players. And when you came up, Jonathan, Coach Hayes, he was at the Hula Bowl and had seen you down there. Oh, Julie. Oh, yep. We're familiar with Julius, and it was just so good to see that you had created a little buzz for you from the Hula Bowl, then over to the NFLPA Bowl. And You made the rounds, maybe a year too late with the Hula Bowl because you didn't get to go out to Hawaii. But I
Right.
think it was down there in Orlando this year, right? And then you were in
Yep.
Pasadena, not a bad deal weather-wise, right?
Not at all. Coming from Connecticut, definitely not.
Yeah, for sure. And then wait, so I forget who was your running back coach at the NFLPA Bowl?
um, why did I forget his name?
That's all
Oh
right.
man,
I
it'll
forgot
ring to
too.
me. It'll ring to
Well,
me in a minute, probably.
Samantha behind the scenes, maybe we can look that up. But I know Anthony Becht, who was out there, he just got announced as one of the new XFL coaches. So big shout out to Coach Becht. We're hoping to have him on this week. We're hoping to have a lot of great guests on this week here on the State of Football. So keep it locked right now. Talking to Sacred Heart running back Julius Chestnut here on the State of Football with Rick Serritella and Amanda Ruller. Any last thoughts, Amanda, with Julius here before we wrap things up?
Yeah. So, what would be like the ultimate statement? Why should somebody draft you? I kind of want to know.
Just because if you ask anybody on my team, I fight for my team. I got a knee injury that could have lasted me out the whole season, but we was in the runnings for a championship, and I did everything I can. I stayed focused. I was dedicated just to come back and play, just to help us win a championship. So I'm dedicated to my team. Those are my brothers, and I fight for them. I know the NFL. It might be different. People think of it differently because it's a business or whatever. But at the same time, I'm there to win, and I'm there to do anything I can just to help my teammates. It doesn't matter what position I'm playing. If I'm playing on offense, that's what I am. If I'm playing on defense, and they want me there, I do anything just so our team can win. So I feel so. It's just me as a person. I'm just dedicated to my team, and I fight for the person next to me.
Yeah, I totally agree because it's not just a business. Leadership. You have to have that strong leadership quality, and I can
Right.
feel the confidence inside you, and I think that's valuable to any team going in. So congratulations, and I'm cheering for you along the whole way.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, and I want to follow up on that because I remember that injury. You were counted out for the year. People thought, hey, he's gone for the season. And so
Yep.
take us through that decision-making process because let's be honest, at the Power 5, these prospects, they're dipping out, they're holding out, they're waiting until draft season. You said, no, buckle up, give me the let's go. How did you come
hmm
to that conclusion? And were you thinking about your draft stock? Was that kind of in the back of your mind, like, hey, I'm running a little bit of a risk here?
Yeah, I definitely did. But knowing myself, I feel so. If I'm strong enough to play again, then I'm play again. I could have came back early. I feel it so, but would I been 100%? No. Would I have risked it more? But yes, probably. So I waited a few more weeks, and then I came back. So, but I got injured. I didn't choose to get surgery with a torn meniscus, so
Mm.
I just stayed with it and then just kept going, but getting treatment, things like that. So I was able to play again, but that's basically it.
I actually had a torn meniscus as well when I was playing football, so I
Mhm.
totally understand that.
Yeah.
How is it feeling now? I'm just curious on my end because it took me a lot of physiotherapy and I went the surgery route, but how's
hmm
it feeling now? What's going on?
Nah, it's good. Nah, I don't feel it at all. Like rarely feel it. Like I'm cutting, I'm doing anything. I don't feel a thing. It feels like normal, and it's crazy because I can get an MRI and it'll still say it's torn, but I feel normal. So that's the good thing I feel about it.
Oh, that's amazing. It's tough to always kind of rehab an injury like that, but
hmm
I'm so happy to hear you're getting along with it and you're progressing. So I wanted to ask one more question. How were you preparing for the draft? I know you said you're really good at footwork, and I
hmm
love that kind of talk because I'm a big running backs person. What do you kind of do for footwork, and how are you preparing for the draft?
Do lots of ladder drills. Lots of ladder drills, lots of cone drills. Making sure my feet work is right for steps for in the backfield, things like that. But lots of ladder and lots of cone drills.
So for the ladder and cone drills, are you just kind of working on different fast feet and changing direction? Is that what you mean by that?
Yes, more lateral movements now. Uh, just because of my knee, so just to make sure it's okay and things like that. I try to make sure it's back to normal. more lateral movements, going quick feet for sure, but tight spaces more so.
And then I wanted to ask, what type of feedback have you been getting for any NFL coaches or anything that leading up to the draft here?
It's a few teams interested. My agent tells me, but he's more of keeping that to himself till draft day. So he don't want me focused on nothing else. He's gonna take care of all that. So I prefer it that way. Don't give me no stress.
I'm that type of athlete, so I get you. I like that.
Yeah.
You gotta love the mentality. He's a gutty performer. No leaks out of the building. His lips are sealed. He's not going to give up any confidential information. He's a gamer. He's a trooper. He's a good friend of the show. And Julius, I'm looking so forward, man, to seeing where you land at the end of the week here. We'll definitely be keeping tabs and looking forward to it. And hopefully we can catch up with you after the draft, man.
Absolutely.
For All right, there you have it. Yeah, Julius Chestnut, Sacred Heart. Walter Payton Award finalist, Samantha, and you yourself being a running back can relate. He's a triple threat: run, pass, catch out of the backfield. I compared him to kind of a Ramondre Stevenson who came out last year for the New England Patriots. I think he went in the 4th round, but very similar dimensions at 6 foot, 230 pounds. And running in that sub 4.5 range. He's going to make an NFL team very happy. Either day 3 or following the draft. The running back position is a funny thing. You never know where these guys are going to come off the board.
Oh, 100%. He would be a dream for anyone to get. So I'm just excited to see where he's going to end up and land. And I'm pumped for tomorrow. I'm going to watch everything, every little bit of it.
Yeah, we'll be breaking it down over on SI.com. Albert Breer and myself, along with the SI.com Familia NFL Draft Bible. Make sure you keep it locked for pre- and post-draft coverage over on.
Oh, we might have a little issue. We back on? I think we might be frozen. Let me just double check. Oh, just frozen.
Another Sunday showdown where fearless fantasy tycoons forego the camaraderie of team and embark on teams of their own.
On, yes! Let's go.
Nobody cares about your fantasy team, Todd.
Hey!
Maybe nobody used to care about your fantasy teams, but those days are over.
Told you people care about the Todd Squad.
Think bigger, Todd. I'm talking about a national fantasy league with teams representing cities and states and managed by fantasy experts who are beholden to us. We're their stakeholders.
I used to be holding a beverage.
Yeah, and then you got chop block, Todd. Offsetting penalties. The point is that we don't have to go mano a mano anymore. Hermanos, sports are more fun when experienced together. And fantasy should be no different. So we'll stake a team, Dean. We'll huddle with our crew, Sue. We'll even DM our GM, Liam. Just like Jerry Jones. How do you like them apples, cowboy?
You have piqued my interest.
Good, because now we can pick the team that we want to run with, the GM that we want to back, the roster that we believe in, but don't want to manage. Because, well, I mean, we all got a lot going on, and some of us have jobs here.
Jobs? Forget it. He's on a roll.
So finally, we can watch our players and discuss our strategy and trash talk our opponents as we watch our fantasy football team together. And if we win,
It's like the fantasy version of fantasy.
no, it's the Hall of Fantasy League, where fantasy becomes a team sport. Are you guys with me?
Yeah!
Introducing the Hall of Fantasy League franchises. The Philadelphia Powder Keg, the Chicago Hog Mollies, the Boston Barflies, the Vegas Pocket Kings, the Atlanta Hot Wings, the Texas Yallers, the Seattle Haze, the Ohio Goats, the New York Bodega Cats, the LA Sidekicks. Don't miss out on your chance to take part in a new era of fantasy sports. Stake your team today.
All right, back at it again here on the State of Football, part of the Fan Nation Network on Sports Illustrated. Rick Serritella, along with Amanda Ruller. We are breaking it down, chopping it up, counting it down to the 2022 NFL Draft tomorrow. Tomorrow, that sounds good, Amanda. And who better to break it down? Brian Baldinger himself, good friend of the show. Let's pop him on, Samantha. Good morning, Baldy. How are you today?
Hey, good morning, gang. I'm doing really well. I'm like everybody else. I'm counting down the minutes to Christmas tomorrow night, and see what's out there for everybody to start talking about and getting excited about.
I was going to say, does it feel like an NFL fan's Christmas tomorrow? And you just said it, so I love it.
Yeah.
And I was going to say too, like I can't remember a more wild, wackier draft leading up in terms of unpredictability this year. It's like every day I wake up, someone else is going to be the top pick. Someone else is moving. Now I'm hearing Stingley's going to go 3 and Hutchinson's 2 and Walker's 1. I mean, how do you keep up with all this stuff, Baldy?
Well, look, it's mock drafts are mock drafts, and people's opinions are just that. I just don't think we have a real consensus, at the very top of the draft. And we've had drafts like this before. I don't think this is a really, I don't see Hall of Fame Charles Woodson, Peyton Manning type players in this draft the way we have in past drafts. So I think those type of players just aren't there. But I think there's a lot of good players. I think it's deep. And so I think that's where we're at right now. And that's why we get all these different views, daily about, who's the best, who's going number one, what should Detroit do it to, what should these teams do with all these multiple picks do? And so I think that we'll see a lot of trades, maybe trading up for one of the elite prospects in this draft at a number of different positions.
Yeah, we're going to get into who some of those elite prospects are in just a moment with Brian Baldinger. And we might not know who the best prospect is, but we know who the best analyst is on NFL Network. That's Brian Baldinger right now on the State of Football with Amanda Ruller. Where do you want to go, Amanda? What do you got for Baldy here?
Ooh, I feel like a really good question is who would be the most surprising outcome? I don't know if anyone's asked you that.
Well, surprising outcome from what standpoint, Amanda? From just like the a name that hasn't been really mentioned in the top 5, something like that?
Yeah, let's go there.
Well, I just think, like, for example, like the Eagles, okay? The Eagles have the 15th and 18th pick. And just knowing Howie Roseman and how he thinks, like, I can see him trading up to go get, Kyle Hamilton. Like, if Kyle drops past, say, 7 or 8, which I think is likely to happen, just simply because of the position and maybe the questions about his speed, I can see Howie going, like, let's go get a great player. Let's go fix the back end of our defense, or even going after Stingley. Like, I can see him making a move and going, all right, we still have we still have other needs, but let's just go get a great player. Let's go get a guy that can really be the framework of our defense for the next 10 years. I can see the Eagles doing something like that.
Howie Roseman's not afraid to wheel and deal. I'll tell you another thing he's not afraid to do is draft a quarterback. And I'll tell you what, I did a mock draft last night. I had a scenario where Malik Willis could be right there for the Eagles taking. And I've heard some smoke with this, that they have interest in this young man. And listen, I'm not saying he's much of an upgrade than Jalen Hurts. But what I'm saying is when you have multiple quality quarterbacks, you also have equity. And you've seen Howie Roseman spin off Sam Bradford and spin off Carson Wentz. And he's not afraid to take a quarterback, even though he might have one. You think I'm crazy, Baldy? What do you make of that?
Well, you're not crazy, Rick. They think they're the quarterback whisperers there in Philadelphia. It turned out to, when they took Jalen Hurts with the 53rd pick 2 years ago, nobody knew that it was going to blow up Carson Wentz and the organization the way that it did. I texted what I think is the best analyst in the industry a couple weeks ago watching Malik Willis. And I said to him, I think Malik Willis throws the ball better right now than Jalen Hurts does. And he said, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm not saying he's a better player than Jalen. I love Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts, the man, the competitor, the athlete. But Malik Willis throws the ball better than him. There's not any flaws the way he throws the football. Now, you could say that he's got to learn to read defenses better. He's got to make better decisions. He can't just take off with it the way that he does, the way Jalen Hurts has over the last 2 years. But would the Eagles do that now? I think the reason why they traded away one of their first-round picks for a first round with New Orleans next year, Rick, is in case Jalen Hurts isn't the guy and they have to go into the quarterback well next year. And I think that's really where they're looking. I think Gardner Minshew and Jalen Hurts command the position this year, regardless of what they think about Malik Willis. And I think next year they could go into the well if the quarterback position isn't where they think it needs to be to compete year in, year out, the way they believe, a Donovan McNabb did, the way Carson Wentz did for a couple of years. Like, that's what they want from their quarterback position, a guy that gets them to the playoffs every year.
I will say, listening to you talk about Malik Willis, it sounds a lot of similar feedback from what people were saying about Trey Lance a year ago. And the one thing that caught my attention the other day, not that I put a lot of stock into, but I just thought, I was like, that's interesting. I don't know if you saw this on the Next Gen Stats. They were recording ball velocity down at the Senior Bowl, and Malik Willis had some insane, like 77, 75 miles per hour. It was like 10 miles per hour greater than Josh Allen. I said, wow. I mean, this is a really rocket cannon type of arm, and we saw that at Pro Day, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And, and it's one of the things that, that really intrigues you about him is, he's really built strong, really compact. He's not as tall as you would like at that position, but he's really compact and he's really strong. He breaks a lot of tackles when he does run. But you do see the cannon, and you see it in the type of throws that we now sort of want to see from Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or some of these elite young quarterbacks. When you watch Justin Herbert throw a football, when you're down on the field and you watch him throw a football, you're like, can anybody spin it better? And so that's what you see from Malik in some of these throws. Now, look, it's not the level of competition that you want to see it against, but he can't do anything about that. Now he transferred, out of Auburn to get to Liberty to make these throws. But you do see the ball jump out of his hands. And, in this NFL, when Aaron Donald could be breathing right down your throat, but you got to make the throw, that's what you want to see. Can he make the throw when, somebody like Aaron Donald or Myles Garrett is on top of you, and can you still complete it? And that's kind of how we're measuring some of these guys right now. And I believe Malik Willis will be able to do that, at this level.
Yeah, I will tell you, these pocket passing quarterbacks are becoming dinosaurs. I did a quick look and assessment of all the projected starters going into next year. About 50% of the league has what you would call a quote unquote dual threat type of mobile quarterback. I mean, that's really how much the NFL has evolved in a short period of time.
Well, with that though, the NFL can only take what the college game is giving you, and that's what the college game is giving you, and so even a Joe Burrow, that is a pocket quarterback. I mean, we've seen his mobility and what he can do to teams when he's out on the perimeter. Patrick Mahomes has been doing that. I mean, he did that at Texas Tech, but he's doing it, week in, week out at the NFL level, where he's running for touchdowns, he's running for first downs, he's extending plays. Matt Stafford is in that category that you're talking about. That is a dinosaur, but he's got just a rare arm and he's got great mechanics, and so he can get away with it. But yes, there's the Tom Brady's, Matt Stafford's. Like the college game just isn't giving you a lot of those type of players anymore.
No, you're right about that. We talked a little bit about that with Bob Wiley yesterday here on the State of Football. Brian Baldinger, Rick Serritella, Amanda Ruller. It's an open roundtable discussion. Amanda, what you got for Baldy?
Yeah, it was interesting because I got to see Malik Willis on his pro day, and I was kind of impressed with him. And a lot of the scouts, there's a lot of good buzz around that. So he was one of my favorites. And I guess I'm wondering, who are all your favorite players right now going into the draft?
Well, I could go around like I like JT Woods. He was a guy, the safety out of Baylor. He was recruited by Matt Rule, a good friend of mine. And you're just looking at guys that have the ability to take the ball away. JT Woods has 13 takeaways in the last 3 years at Baylor. 9 of them or 10 of them are interceptions. He covers a lot of ground. I like a safety that's 6'3" that can run in the 4.3s. That's what he covers, a lot of ground. He's got a lot of length. He doesn't get talked about much, but I look for guys that have these abilities that can transfer. Alec Pierce at Cincinnati looks to me like a guy that can run by people. He ran by Notre Dame all day this year. Can he be the next Jordy Nelson? Maybe he needs to wiggle a little bit better, but he looks like a guy to me that is going to make a lot of people happy if they draft him in the second round in this draft at wide receiver. That's going to put up good numbers in the NFL. He's got elite foot quickness and length and all those kind of good things. I like that about him. I like the tackles in this draft. I like Evan Neal a lot. I've liked him since I started watching him last year at Alabama when he was the right tackle. I like the versatility that he showed. The fact that he started 41 straight games. I think that's a good thing. I happen to like Kenny Pickett. I'm going around the dial here, but I like a guy that started 49 games in college. When I watch Pitt play, Amanda, I can't identify an NFL player in their offense. Yet here he is winning the ACC. So, and winning the ACC championship. And I watch him, and I watched him as an 18-year-old beat the University of Miami as starting his first college football game. And he made a lot of good plays in that game, including the game-winning run for a touchdown. And he did that for the next, 4 years at Pitt. Like, I can't find a weakness in his game. Now, you can say, okay, well, he doesn't have an arm like Patrick Mahomes. Nobody does. So if you want to compare him to Patrick Mahomes, that's fine. But he's got some traits that Patrick does. He can move. He can extend plays. Keeps his eyes down the field. He's very tough. Like, I can't find a weakness to Kenny Pickett if somebody wants to take him in the first round. And I believe he'll have a chance to compete, right away. So I can find guys at every single position, Amanda, right now that I really like. I'm just watching Ryder Anderson at Indiana. He's a Katy Tiger. He's 6'6.5". He's 275 pounds. Like, he might not run the way you want your edge rusher to run, but there's identifiable traits, Rick, that when I watch them, I go, they transfer to the NFL. Length, arm length, effort, motor. He's coachable. He went to Indiana and played a 5th year out of Ole Miss. So I don't know. I believe that I can find prospects at every single round of this draft.
Well, no, that's great stuff there. And the flip side is, Kenny Pickett's hand size, it's been beaten like a dead horse, but you look early on in his career, he had a lot of fumbles, the turnovers, they tamed him down. But when you add him up, I think 58 turnovers and 36 starts, very similar to what Daniel Jones was coming out of Duke. And that's the devil's advocate, right? And that's the whole crazy, tipsy-turvy draft that we have going on here. And I do want to ask you about Kayvon Thibodeau. But first, you gave us a top 5 sleeper earlier on in the segment. We got our good friend Tom Goodhines over there at Hub Football in the chat room. Good to see you, Tom, out in Las Vegas where the draft will be. Says, who is your back end of the first round? Give us a late first round sleeper that maybe people aren't talking up right now.
I like Travis Jones. I like what he did at the Senior Bowl this year. just coming out of Connecticut. I like his size and his short area quickness. Like I could see a team, at the bottom of that round, maybe the Green Bay Packers, Kansas City. I could see a team like that at the bottom of the first round, taking a guy like Travis Jones. He's got NFL size. He played really well at the Senior Bowl. He looks like a guy that could fit that mold that what you're looking at right now.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. And after Jordan Davis, I think Travis Jones is the next D tackle, because I heard, I checked in with my Georgia source because there was that rumor teams have Devontae Wyatt off of their board entirely due to character concerns. I checked in with our Georgia beat writer. Said, yeah, Wyatt's been in some hot water during his time down there in Athens, but he said it should check out okay. He still thinks that he'll be going in the first round. But, you follow those Vegas odds out there. His stock is falling like a rock. I think it's interesting. Sharp money came in on Trayvon Walker. Suddenly he's the number one favorite to go first overall. And for the most part of the season, they had those odds all year long. For most of the season, it was Kayvon Thibodeau. For maybe like 2 years, this guy was considered the number one overall pick. Now, I myself have not deviated. I've got Kayvon Thibodeau 1, Derek Stingley 2. Those are the two blue chip prospects, in my opinion, and everybody's opinion is different. But I'll tell you what, he gives you every reason in the world not to root for you. And I understand where the NFL teams are coming from. Before you hopped on the show, I said, teams want to know, can they work with you? And when you go out and you run an insane 40, incredible 10-yard split, and are on your way back into that conversation of being the number one overall pick, and then you shut it down and you stop competing, and you go on NFL Network in your little fancy suit there last night. I mean, listen, I don't care about the quirky personality because I'm drafting the talent, but I heard a quote that resonated with me, and I think it bothers some of the GMs. You tell me what you think. They said Kayvon Thibodeau is really the first millennial type of athlete where he grew up on social media. Twitter came out in 2010. This guy doesn't know a world where social media didn't exist and people are constantly patting him on the back. I mean, is this something that teams should be concerned of? What did you see when you studied Thibodeau? Do you have him as one of these top talents? What's your take on this young man?
There's days, honestly, Rick, where he's the best defensive player in this draft. Just short area quickness, the variety of moves, the way that he can win. You watch the Pac-12 championship game 2020 against USC. Is the best player on the field. Now that game, it's in Los Angeles, and he went to Dorsey High School and Oaks Christian, and he's an LA kid, so maybe he's just he got excited. He said that when he was ruled out of half of the game because of targeting, he said his biggest moment in college football was when he came back the following game for the second half, and he got a standing ovation from the crowd. I mean, it's a little bizarre answer, like that's not what I would think would be your highlight of your college career. I saw that interview on, I was on that show yesterday with Path to the Draft when he was on. He's very articulate. He's very smart. He's very savvy. I want to see him in the NFL. I want to see him go out there and win in the NFL and play the way Nick Bosa did the day he entered, the NFL. I want to see him take over games with effort and with variety and foot quickness and all. But I think people have their questions whether he can do that week in, week out. I have a little bit of a question about it, but I see the talent. The talent's there. It's undeniable. And so, but he's quirky. And so he doesn't sound the way you want your defensive lineman to sound. I grew up playing with Randy White and playing with Reggie White. Like I knew what those animals were all about. It was all about Sundays and dominating on Sundays. So my perspective is a little bit different. I played against Bruce Smith. Like when they were talking about, the NFL's best of all time, and you're trying to say, can you project to him being like that? He's different than those guys. It's not to say that he can't do it though.
No, I love breaking it down with Brian Baldinger here on the State of Football. I know you got a boogeyman, and time flies when you come on the show, and we could do this all day, can't we? Tell the listening audience it's great to see you getting the FaceTime finally you deserve on the NFL Network, because they had you like buried for a while, and now every time I pop it on, there's Baldy, there's Baldy, there's Baldy. I can't get enough of it. So, what do you got cooking? I'm assuming you're going to be part of the NFL Draft Week coverage. What's going on over there at the NFL Network? What do you got cooking?
Well, I did sign. I signed a new contract, to extend, for the next few years, which is good. I'm in the third floor here at NFL Films in my film room right now. I'll be doing like kind of a digital broadcast, I guess, is what they call it. We'll be analyzing all the picks online or whatever this weekend. Daniel Jeremiah's got everything covered. And our analyst, Willie McGinnis, they'll be out there in Las Vegas. I just left. I was there doing some stuff earlier. So I'll be back here, which is fine. They don't need to see this face on in America covering all this stuff. I've been breaking it down here for the last 2 months pretty regularly here, just trying to find some gems. So I'll just keep doing my thing. I'll do a lot of stuff, a lot of videos, video breakdowns, things like that. So that's enough for me right now. But I'll be on Path to the Draft today. I'll be on over the weekend, next Monday, kind of analyzing what teams have done.
Yeah, people probably don't realize this. You've been covering the draft for a long time now. I remember the theater back in Madison Square Garden, and you used to be doing shows out there and the media. And man, just that's going to be really where to listen and get the real analysis. Because no offense to the NFL Network and ESPN, but I like my X's and O's. I like breaking it down and listening to you talk about these prospects all day long. Can't thank you enough, Baldy. We'll chat soon, my man.
All the best, Rick. Take care, man. Nice joining you here today. Bring me back anytime. You got it, buddy. See you, man.
Awesome. The one and only Brian Baldinger. I mean, just cancel all the guests, Amanda, and keep Baldy on all. I want to get inside his mind, because he really studies in the film. You saw him at NFL Films. He's just breaking down film all day long.
Yeah, I was just kind of engulfed by everything that he was saying, and it was cool to hear his perspective. And I'm happy to hear he's getting more and more airtime, like you mentioned, and he's getting more in there. So very excited for him and everything he's doing forward. And it was cool to see, and especially talking about different players and athletes and getting his perspective. So yeah, very cool.
Now, great stuff. Brian Baldinger, good friend of the show. Tom Goodhines in the chat room. All of you waking up with us here on the State of Football. Big shout out. We got Amanda Ruller here, special guest host, checking in from Saskatchewan. All right, seeing a place to be here at the Jersey Shore, broadcasting live around the universe here on the Fan Nation Network, part of the SI.com, where we will have a pre and post draft coverage. Albert Breer, myself, breaking it down. Of course, NFLDraftBible.com. And go there right now. You can find over 600 scouting reports. What do you got planned today? You want to dive into some scouting reports? Big shout out to some of our scouts behind the scenes. Lorenz Leinweber, who will be joining us here on the State of Football on Friday and Saturday, along with the Prez. Zach Petra will be breaking it down with us during the draft week here. And hopefully we'll get a cameo from Jack Borowski later on in the show. We got Bobby Greco, another NFL Draft Bible contributor. And our guy, Rob Gregson, man, is doing some solid work. Corey Ezring, the whole familia over there on NFLDraftBible.com. Those guys don't get enough shine. We don't let them out of the film room enough. And we'll be popping those guys on throughout the week. And Samantha behind the scenes, nice job there. You can see the virtual draft guide. Get into it. We've got players for days, including our next guest. He is Merrimack quarterback Weston Elliott. Say hello, Amanda, because Weston brings the energy. Had a chance to meet this young man, and he is a fiery individual. Really excited about our next guest. So let's welcome him into the show. Samantha, pop him on. Weston, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. What you look like you're in a hotel room. Where are you checking in from today?
I am. I'm in Phoenix right now. So I took a little short vacation for the weekend. Came down to Phoenix, visiting and yeah. So it's 7:45 here, bright and early.
Yeah, the sun doesn't set, right?
Weston, your online presence is amazing. Your energy that you bring to the table and just who you are in your persona. I love it. That's all I had to say first and foremost before we get into anything.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
And I bumped into Weston a couple weeks back, and he was doing his NFL draft preparation, working very hard, earning that little vacation out there in Phoenix, because I know Kevin Dunn and Gear Guntmusson and Skip and the whole crew, Vance down there, was putting you through the ringer. So let's start right there. I mean, that was a different process for you because you're used to game preparation, studying playbooks, and here you are spending a couple months training for your 40-yard dash, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't, I don't think the 40-yard dash was my forte exactly. So I definitely needed a lot of work. But, at that test and all the guys up there, Gare, Vance, Kevin, Tony, they did an unbelievable job. I couldn't have asked for a better situation and a better opportunity to train for this, for that moment for pro day. And, just going through that, I think the biggest thing they did for me was teach me how to be a professional. I think that's the biggest jump you make going from college to this point. I went through the All-Star game circuit and all that. And, up there, they just teach you how to be professional. You're getting up at 8 a.m. You're doing stuff constantly, whether it's eating right or Pilates and all your free time, yoga, all, the hour free time you have, the 30 minutes free time between the workouts and the throwing sessions and all that, you're not wasting any time. And, what they were able to do for me and change my body and, teach me how to be professional meant a lot to me and definitely has helped me on this journey.
Yeah, definitely, because you mentioned Tony Racioppi, too, another Paisan here in Jersey, and you guys had a really good quarterback room out there, too. I know Kenny Pickett was part of that group. Who else were you working with out there with Tony?
Yeah, it was myself, Kenny, and then Dustin Crum was there, Mike Baldry, and Anthony Russo. So us five got to spend a lot of time together and throw the football around about every day for 8 weeks. And, it was exciting and being able to sit there with each other and, kind of be competitive as we all are, obviously, and look at each other and compare each other, compare yourself to the people you're throwing with. It was an awesome experience, and I enjoyed getting to know those guys a lot. Became really good friends, lifelong friends with them. So definitely excited to continue that relationship with them.
Yeah, we just heard Baldy sing the praise of Kenny Pickett, possibly the number one quarterback coming off the board here. Dustin Crum, another potential draftee here. And so, yeah, definitely a great barometer as you lead up to the 2022 NFL draft. I can't believe it's tomorrow. Rick Serritella with Weston Elliott along with Amanda Ruller. Go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned how you were preparing and it kind of changed your body in that way because you were an elite athlete. And I think some of us kind of wonder, how do you prepare for the draft and what are the little elements that you put in place? Like you mentioned yoga to kind of become that most elite athlete and prepare for this draft.
Yeah, for me, it started in the kitchen. Lauren Dunn is the nutritionist at Test. And, going at Louisiana Tech, we didn't have a nutritionist. At Merrimack, we didn't have a nutritionist. So that was something I needed to learn a little bit about. And, she did a phenomenal job of not only, showing us what to do, but also at educating each and every one of us on exactly how to do it. So now, today, I can go back and look at her notes and look at all the things she's taught me. And, continue to work on that. So I think, for sure, nutrition part of it was huge for me. I changed. When I showed up to Merrimack, I was 233 pounds, and through some injuries and kind of nicks and knacks and whatever, went all the way down to 204 pounds. Between I had the flu at one point. It was a fiasco. I was in the hospital for a week. During the year, had a lot of tiny things. And then when I went to Test, I gained, got up to 218 pounds and down to 10.8% body fat. So I dropped 4.5% body fat and gained 16 pounds or 14 pounds or whatever that is. So in 8 weeks. So what she did was phenomenal for me. And then just going in, working out, running, kind of conditioning for an hour and a half, and then 30-minute break for lunch, and then you're straight into an hour of yoga, and then you're straight to the field. I mean, it was nonstop, constant for sure.
I like how you mentioned nutrition, because that's the number one thing people think I can just outwork my diet. And I feel like when I'm listening to you, it was a lot of good nutrition that gave you the energy you needed, and to just train at that high performance level, get that workout in, and still be elite at that level. And I'm really excited that you got that element in place.
For sure, yeah, no doubt. And just all those tiny details about it. I was eating like 4,800 calories a day, but like going through that, I definitely believed what you said. I could outwork what I ate, but getting this opportunity to change was huge for me.
That's the takeaway message of the day. You can't outwork a bad diet, or rather, it didn't supplement the work you're putting in. So I'm glad we got that in place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Samantha, if you go over to the Test Football on Facebook, or Laura Dunn on Facebook, I think there's some before and after pictures we can embarrass Weston Elliott with. So see if we can pull that up before the end of the interview. Weston Elliott, the Merrimack gunslinger here on the State of Football with Rick Serritella, along with Amanda Ruller. And Weston, I talked to the NFL scouts and talk you up, and I think the biggest takeaway I get is they say, hey, well, he was the 1-year wonder, right? Like, he just came out of nowhere, shot out of a cannon, transferred to Merrimack. What was 4,000 yards passing? We'll pull up the numbers here in just a second. But if you dig in and watch your film, I mean, you stood there in the pocket. You made quick, smart decisions. You flung the ball all over the field. You can make every throw. Obviously, you have a strong arm. But what do you say to the scouts at home that are hesitant, or the critics out there that have doubts? Like, what is your response to those guys?
Yeah. I've kind of been all over playing. Started at Blinn Junior College, went to Louisiana Tech. But I wouldn't change any of that for the world. And then ended up at Merrimack, obviously, but wouldn't change any of that for the world. All the people I got to meet, the coaches I got to be a part of. That's the thing a lot of people don't see. I was with Tim Rattay at Louisiana Tech, who went to be the Commanders QB coach. Now he's QB coach at Oklahoma State. I was with Todd Fitch, who went on after a year of being my quarterback coach at Louisiana Tech to Vanderbilt, and then now he's on staff at Ohio State. And then next was Joe Sloan, and now he's the quarterback coach at LSU. And then last but definitely not least, Luke Bakanowski at Merrimack. And every single one of those guys taught me something different, and taught me how to process film. I think that's the biggest thing that I have that stands out from everybody else in this class. And, I take a ton of pride in that. I think anybody can watch film. Anybody can sit in the film room for 2-3 hours and do whatever that their heart desires. But at the end of the day, how much are you getting out of that time? I feel like I can process film at a very rapid pace, and I might be able to get something out of it in 10 minutes that took somebody else, an hour and a half, 2 hours to get out of it. So that, and then, I was ready for my opportunity at Louisiana Tech. It just didn't happen how I wished it would have. I loved everything about Louisiana Tech. I loved the coaches. I loved my teammates. Would have put, everything I had on the line, did put everything I have on the line every day at practice and all year long. It just didn't work out. But, going to Merrimack, I think proved how ready I stayed, how, mentally bought in and physically bought in. And, I was just ready for the opportunity, and I just wanted to play football. And that's why I ended up in Boston and at Merrimack. And, at the beginning of this, I didn't picture myself sitting here talking to y'all, talking about the NFL draft. I just wanted to play football. And, I knew I could do it. Wanted to prove all my hard work to myself, not anybody else, that, I had done all this work. I was ready to play. And, I just wanted to go out on Saturdays and have fun. And that's how I look at this whole thing. And, football's a game, and I love football. But, it can be taken away from you at any point, I guess. But I'm the most competitive person in the world. You put me on on Sundays, on the football field on Sundays, you're going to get the exact same guy that wants to play football. It's going to give you all he's got.
No, your passion definitely shows, and I appreciate that about you. If I'm evaluating quarterbacks, you got to love the game, you got to be a student of the game, you got to be a film room junkie. And oh, by the way, it was 3,000 yards, 30 touchdowns this past season over there at Merrimack. You mentioned Tim Rattay, who was a really good NFL quarterback in his own right back in the day. I remember Tim Rattay, and he's a great football mind. And Coach Coran there at Merrimack also, I believe he was college teammates with Chip Kelly at New Hampshire, if I'm not mistaken. So you've been around some really great football minds throughout your career. We're talking to Weston Elliott here on the State of Football, part of the Fan Nation Network on Sports Illustrated, presented by NFLDraftBible.com, along with Rick Serritella, Amanda Ruller. Where are we going next, Amanda?
Oh, just everything you're saying, it's so inspiring, and I feel like you've created all these habits to become just like this most elite leader within the NFL. So why should a team draft you? What would you say to them?
I kind of touched on it a second ago, but you're going to get an elite competitor. I think everybody is an elite competitor when you get to the NFL. But I'm still one of those guys that if I were to lose my sister in checkers, I would hold a grudge probably for a week. Actually, she would never beat me in checkers if we're really talking about it correctly. But
you don't even let her win once, Weston. Man, you're cold-hearted. Cold-hearted
Apparently,
competitor.
apparently, but I'm gonna walk into the building, and I'm gonna give you all I got every day, and I think that's all you can ask for. I'm gonna come to work. I'm gonna show up, and I think that the ultra competitor thing kind of sums up my mantra and what I want to do. Ultra competitor, that as a quarterback, that involves being the leader, being a guy people can look up to on and off the field. And I think it'll be interesting trying to do that in NFL locker room because there's so many, it's a different age group of guys. But at the end of the day, it's football, and there's got to be a leader. The quarterback is the leader on the football field, and I definitely understand that. But I'm definitely a relationship leader. So I pride myself on going in places and building a relationship because I don't feel like you can lead somebody and push somebody without knowing what makes them tick, and just being able to talk to them on a personal level, and having a relationship with them.
I think that's huge, and a lot of people don't think about it that way, but I'm super glad that you do, just because that's what people are looking at these days, and that's thrives in a winning culture. So I really appreciate you saying that.
And all the NFL teams at home that are watching right now, tuned in, Weston Elliott is repped by Vincent Nicholson over at 919 Sports Management. If you want to get a hold of Weston during the draft, and Vincent, a good friend of the show as well. And he even came up to the Test Football Academy. I had a chance to I was going to say take him out to lunch. I think he took me out to lunch, and then he came back and took you guys out to dinner.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that was a much needed cheat meal. I can tell you that much.
No doubt. So you'll be in good hands. And are you going to be out in Phoenix for the duration? Are you you're Texas based home for you, right?
Yes, sir. No, I actually fly home today, this afternoon, and then gonna have a big group of people, probably like 100 to 150 people, just family, friends, come over for the house for the weekend, and just enjoy our time. And I sent out a text and to the people and just told them, I want everybody that impacted my life and impacted my journey and mean a lot to me, if they could show up, and I just want to spend this time with them. And whether something happens or it doesn't, at the end of the day, I just want to be with those people and just spend time together and get to see them before life starts, I guess, for real.
Oh, welcome to the real world, Weston. It's not no, that's so cool, man, that you get to share that experience with all those who impacted you. So definitely enjoy that. And before I let you go, I got to tell our listening audience at home too, because we are the NFL Draft Bible. Merrimack's got a couple of good cornerbacks coming out, one this year, one next year, and I know they made you a better player. Caleb Holden is the corner coming out this year. Darren McKenzie, I believe, returned to Merrimack and be coming out next year. But I know our listening audience at home, a lot of them are diehard draft nicks. Just give us a little quick scouting report on those two, Weston.
Yeah, no. So Merrimack plays, I would say we're about 90% man. So those guys are unbelievable man technique guys. Both of them are quick as a cat. D-Mac, Darian McKenzie has a little bit more length. But, I think Caleb plays very physical. And both of them have a ton to offer on an NFL roster. And both of them, I think Mac Tough kind of mantra is, the blue collar work ethic, work our tail off, do whatever you ask me to do. I'm going to do it 100%. Both those guys will do that playing corner. They'll both do it playing, kind of a nickel, manning up on a slot receiver, and they'll both go out there on special teams and do exactly what anybody needs from them. So I can't be more excited for those guys as well, especially, this year for Caleb and D-Mac's going back. He battled a couple injuries this year, and thought it was important for him to go back. So I think he's going to have a great year. I look forward to following those guys and seeing how they do this year.
No doubt about it. We're going to be monitoring his progress next year. I know he was on the Senior Bowl watch list. We're keeping tabs over at the NFL PA Bowl on him for next year. And we'll be keeping tabs on you this upcoming week, Weston. We're looking forward to seeing how it all unfolds, where you'll be commuting to next. You're well-traveled, so I know adapting to a new city is like second hat for you at this point. So once the draft dust settles in, we'd love to pop you back on and catch up with you one more time. Oh, hey, there you go. There's the before and afters.
There it is.
There it is. So we couldn't let you escape without that one, but
everybody look away.
We'll get you out here to the Jersey Shore if you stick with the Giants or Jets, Weston. Thanks for hopping on and spending a little bit of time with us.
Perfect. Thank you all so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Weston Elliott there, the Merrimack gunslinger, 3,000 yards, 30 touchdowns this past year, tearing up the NEC. And, Ralph Ventry, who was with me on Monday, we used to do the weekly chop shop for the Northeast Conference, Amanda. And I got to say, Weston Elliott was a weekly repeat performer every week. He was making the highlights, having these big, he had a handful of 300 plus, 350 plus yards passing. And we mentioned Coach Coran gave him all the confidence and opportunity in the world to run that offense.
Yeah, no, it was awesome to just hear from him and hear his experiences. And like I said, looking at him online, he's an amazing athlete. So and his culture and the person that he is, he's going to do well. So hopefully I want to see him do well and absorb this experience. Like he said, he's having people come over. It's going to be a whirlwind. What an awesome experience for any young gentleman going into this situation. So I'm really, really excited for him.
Yeah, he was working hard, had a chance to kind of check in and keep tabs on his progress. And we couldn't spare him the embarrassment. We had to get those picks up there before we let him go. Hey, we got TJ Hammonds coming up from Arkansas, will be our next guest. Bobby Greco, the NFL Draft Bible contributor, he'll pop on, talk about some of his favorite prospects and some of his favorite NFL PA Bowl guys, because he was keeping tabs on them throughout the pro day circuit. You just heard from Weston Elliott, the Merrimack quarterback. We had Brian Baldinger on just a little while ago, just dropping some excellent insight there. Samantha behind the scenes letting me know Logan Hall, the Houston defensive end, I think he's going to be doing a solo interview with the Prez, Zach Patros, so we'll be having that up on the NFLDraftBible.com. And we had Julius Chestnut earlier in the show. What a show we've had, and we had to dive right into it between the technical difficulties and all the behind-the-scenes shenanigans, Amanda. We jumped right into it, so I didn't even get a chance. I barely even said hello to you before we went on the air, so I haven't had a chance to catch up with you. And I know you've been staying busy with the national team. You're coming off the McMaster season. You've been moonlighting at the Hub Football Academy camp, which, oh, by the way, there's another one coming up May 7th out in San Diego. NFL Draft Bible will be on location for that. If you want to get on board, hubfootball.com for all the street free agents. But what's going on with Amanda Ruller these days? Were you out at the CFL draft at all?
No,
Or the
I was at
combine, I mean?
Yeah, I was at the NFL Combine. I decided to go to that one instead, just because just it was a little bigger scale for me, and I had some athletes in the CFL Combine, but because of COVID, a lot of it was locked down more, so there wasn't a lot of people watching, and they didn't let a lot of people come. So I was able to go to the NFL Combine and make that happen for me, and that was an amazing situation. I got to see amazing, amazing athletes. So going back to McMaster coming up here quick, and I'm working with U18 women's tackle football this summer. This is the first year we're having U18 women play tackle in Canada here as a tournament, which is such a huge experience. And I get to be a pioneer. I get to be part of that, coaching these women coming into a new form. We're get to play tackle football. What an amazing thing. So I'm preparing that way. And I do have a really, really big announcement on Friday. I can't really tell you right now. I'm getting to get my feet wet in something else football wise. So I actually want you guys to keep locked, and Rick, I'll give you the exclusive later. So
Oh, that's awesome. No, that's
Yeah.
great news. What a cliffhanger.
I know.
That's so cool though. I love you being part of this women's team movement. And I know when we were out at the NFL Combine, you had a chance to attend. I know every year they do like an annual women in football kind of congregation, and I didn't even get a chance to pick your brain. I like the combine went by, it was a blur. You were hanging out with Balzer all week. I barely saw you out there. I didn't even get a chance to ask you, how was that event?
It was amazing. Yeah. So getting to go see all the women within the NFL from all different facets, whether they work in the office, whether it was media, coaches. Oh my goodness. I got to meet Jennifer King and Coach Lowe, and I was in my element. It was amazing to kind of connect with these women and be like, this is why we're doing it. It's not always like we need to be a woman working within the football industry. We want to be a person working within the football industry. But I just think sometimes within football, they're not ready for women to lead. But I feel like there's been women inserted in it for a very long time, and women have been teaching men, especially these athletes, whether it be mothers, grandmothers, coaches, teachers, whoever it is. They've been learning from women their entire lives. So it's been very cool to kind of be part of that movement, especially me here in Canada, being one of the first women to be doing it and going up to the NFL and saying, yes, meeting these women, this is why we are doing this, and we're going to keep pushing forward no matter what that is, and making those opportunities. Because when I was growing up, I never saw an opportunity in coaching in football because there was no women coaches, there was no women media in football, and now it's just expanding, and we're seeing more and more and more. And I guarantee you, it's awesome to hear that the NFL is putting in place that each team has to have a diverse individual, including women, on their coaching staff now. I think that was such huge news for especially me, just because I am one of those women that's trying to break into coaching, especially within the NFL. So I think it's a matter of time that you'll see me around the way, and I'm going to insert myself as much as I can.
No doubt, it's not if, it's when.
Yes.
A true trailblazer, Amanda Ruller. And I should mention Mickey Gray also just hired, because we have the UConn Illustrated website. We're covering the Huskies. Shout out to Coach Jim Mora, who should be checking in on the show at some point this week. But he just hired, I think, offensive analyst Mickey Gray to his staff. And I got to shout out our UConn Illustrated contributor, who's also doing some great stuff now for us at the NFL Draft Bible. I give a shout out to all our Draft Bible familia. I forgot Jennifer McGraw has hopped on board with us and is doing awesome interviews coming out on the NFLDraftBible.com. She's been covering UConn Illustrated for us. So big shout out to her, along with Brian Keating, our new intern, who's getting baptized by fire here. We just threw him into the mix. And the good news, Amanda, he came back for more. So there's potential with Brian Keating. I had to bust his chops a little bit because he cost me the first 15 minutes of UConn practice a couple weeks ago. And, he got the RIC treatment a little bit. So it didn't scare him away. He came back for more. Right. You just cost me 15 minutes of practice, bro. What happened? And, he's a grad student up in Boston College. So we're breaking him in. And just like you have aspirations of one day working in the league. He too is trying to find his way to the National Football League. And our next guest is TJ Hammonds out of Arkansas, who is on that NFL radar. And we tried to pop him on last week. I know a lot of you guys were anticipating and waiting. Well, here he is checking in with us here on the State of Football, part of the Fan Nation Network on Sports Illustrated, presented by NFLDraftBible.com. Good morning, TJ. How are you this morning?
Doing all right, my man. How are you? You doing all right?
Yeah, we're doing great. Rick Serritella here, along with Amanda Ruller. Where are we checking in from today?
We're in Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm back home. I'm with my mom. My birthday was on the 24th, so I went home to spend time with some family and friends and see everyone. So headed back to Fayetteville to get back to training, getting ready for what's coming up.
Awesome. Happy birthday. Shout out there. And I'll let Amanda kick this one off since I've been stealing all the thunder. Go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah, honestly, so I'm a big like numbers person for Pro Day, and I was looking at your numbers. You are quick, my friend, especially your 10 split 1.59. I was just saying, like, it's just really cool to see your numbers and who you are. How did you prepare for the combine, and how are you preparing for the draft going forward?
Right. I mean, I just got this wonderful trainer, man. He's great. I mean, he's been on me hard and getting with me. I mean, I already know I'm fast, so it's just working on technique and getting the right technique down and making sure like I come out very explosive. And I took my pro day very serious just because I mean, it's only one shot, so you only get one shot at everything. So you got to take advantage of everything you can.
Yeah. You know, you didn't get the call to Indianapolis. So, yeah, the pro day meant a lot for you. And the good news is, though, I mean, the Razorbacks, you guys had an incredible season, an unbelievable wide receiver unit, and that brought out the scouts. I know Traylon Burks and Trey Knox and all you guys doing big things this past year. So, what was that like, you know, just taking Arkansas, the Razorbacks, to new heights? You guys had some big wins, especially early on in the season. I don't think people saw that coming. What was the secret sauce there to the ingredient?
Man, it's been a while. It's been a long journey. Like I said, I've been here since 2016. So like, I've been through it all, man. I saw the bumps, the lows, the highs, and I mean, the success was just us being together and all of us putting in as one instead of just one person just doing it all. We tend to focus more on each other than just one person, just because like it's a team ball, it's a team game, and you need each other to finish out the season. It's a long season in the SEC, so you need everyone.
Yeah, and we're talking to TJ Hammonds here on the State of Football, part of the Fan Nation Network on Sports Illustrated, presented by NFLDraftBible.com. If you're watching at home, you see his player profile page up there, and you can do a little bit of everything, man. You can line up inside, outside, you know, get you in space with the ball in your hands, return some kicks. I mean, give the listening audience at home a little self-scouting report.
Man, I really can do it everything. When it comes to special team, I can do whatever you say on special teams, from returning kicks to going in there and making a tackle. And I just feel like it's something that will help me in this draft because I can do it everything. I can play running back. I can go to receiver and a slide. And I mean, in high school, I played running back the whole time. I didn't play receiver until I got to like my sophomore year in college. So it was a good experience for me from learning from all the other guys and just standing in the back and just watching everyone. I mean, I learned a lot last year from Traylon Burks. I mean, just watching his game as well. I played him in high school as well. So, I mean, it's just been a great experience, man. I mean, I really enjoyed it, and I'm really forward to looking for the future, man. I'm like, very excited about it. Very excited.
No, we're excited as well. And again, big pro day performance, really kind of boosting your draft stock with some of those numbers, as Amanda alluded to. So that definitely went well. And, you know, you can only control what you can control. So what has it been like since the pro day? Because now it's like you were in that training fury, right? For all those months, you got the biggest job interview out of your life out of the way. What's it been like the last couple of weeks here, waiting and anticipating?
Oh, it's been a struggle. Just playing that waiting game, man. That waiting game is just something that you can't control. And so when you just sitting there, just waiting for a phone call and just steady texting your agent and just ready to hear back from someone, it's very, very controlling. And I try to like keep myself focused on like working out and I mean, I play a lot of video games too, so I try to just keep myself occupied so I won't think too much about it.
What is some of the feedback you've been getting that your agent's been telling you from the NFL or coaches?
I mean, first, I think the Arizona Cardinals, like they really, really enjoy. I mean, I enjoy our talks. I mean, we talked a lot. The special team coach really loved me, so I mean, I've been looking that way for a while. So we'll see how it goes. I've been getting a couple calls from like the Saints and the Jags, so we'll see.
Well, hey, I know the 49ers are friends of the show, and they might be moving on from Deebo Samuel. You mentioned running back, slot, wide receiver, return man. If the 49ers are tuned
Yeah,
in, man, we
man.
got your guy right here, right?
Yeah,
Here we
man.
go. We
I
got
do it. Like
Deebo's
I said, I do
replacement.
it all.
Absolutely. Are you
I'll
kidding?
do it, man.
So we're talking to TJ Hammonds, Arkansas wide receiver. We've been breaking it down, chopping it up between the white stripes. Let's go outside the lines a little bit. What are you doing? Paint the picture for me. What's going on? Arkansas is one of those states that has eluded me, and I know your agent, Michael Langley, who's based in Arkansas, and he keeps giving me an excuse to come down there and visit, but I've never been to the state. So paint the picture. What's it like growing up in Little Rock? Were you born and raised in Little Rock? Like, what's going on down there in Arkansas? I heard they call Budweiser water. I know that much.
So Little Rock and Fayetteville is two different parts. I mean, they very different, not similar at all. I mean, yes, I was born and raised in Little Rock, Arkansas, so always been a Hog fan. But when you go to Fayetteville, man, it's just like it's something different. It's very natural, beautiful. The site there is just very greeny. I mean, it's just a fresh air, man. Like when you take your feet off the ground and you sit there, you're gonna be like, this is a great place to be, man. This is a great place to be. Just looking there, the smell, everything is just natural. Love it. You can't miss it.
I like it. I don't know if I like it as much as I like the Jersey Shore here, but it
Come
sounds like a
down there,
good
man.
time.
Come down.
You know,
Come down.
I'll be there. No, I'm
Like
coming.
I said,
I'm gonna.
it's not too much to do. It's not too much to do as far as just like, just having activities as far, but like, yeah, you want to golf, you want to ride dirt bikes or something like that. Come on, man. I'm your guy for
Hey,
it.
man. Yeah, it's not where you're at. It's who you're with. And if I'm with you, I know I'm
Yeah.
having a good time. So it's all good.
Come on.
We'll do it up Little Rock style or Fayetteville style. It don't matter to me.
Come on, man.
TJ Hammonds here with Rick Serritella, Amanda Ruller. What else you got for TJ, Amanda?
Oh, so much. First of all, we got to play video games together. And I kind of wanted to know, that reminds me as an athlete, like when I played football, what was the most valuable thing you learned from being at Arkansas? So, like a takeaway.
I'll just have to say, I mean, it's a lot of things that are coming your way, and like you just got to find a way just to get by it, even if it's not going your way. I mean, it can go so bad that you just have to find another way around everything. I mean, that's one thing that I've learned here. I mean, just being down bad, 2-10, just doing it bad. I mean, and you just switching that over. You just got to keep going, keep pushing, keep going. I mean, if you just stop there, then you're going to quit, and you don't want to do that.
Yeah, and Amanda mentioned the esports. Don't get me going. We got esports coming to Sports Illustrated. TJ, man, we're gonna get you on the team. We had Darius Geis on the other day. He's starting up an esports franchise. We got to get you connected. Yeah, yep. I'll connect you, man.
I'm the best Call of Duty player in the world right here, man.
I was gonna ask, do you play Call of Duty, but which one?
I play
Warzone?
Vanguard Warzone, and I play a little bit of Apex. A variety of games. I'm really a YouTuber, stream a little bit.
So you stream on YouTube? That's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, back in college, you couldn't do that at the time because you couldn't get paid for it. And now that you can do stuff like that, so it's great.
Well, I have a 4-year-old, so I'm stuck playing Mario Kart and LOL. But one of these
Fortnite,
days,
you playing Fortnite?
I'm gonna work my way up. If they make that for the Nintendo Switch, I'm gonna work my way up to that point. But no, man, we're gonna be covering the esports world in a whole unique way and have these crossover athletes in the way that like you're branding yourself on YouTube. Like this
Right.
is the future, right? And no, we'll definitely connect off the air with that. Hopefully we can connect on the air again after this past week and the
Yes.
draft dust settles. So with that being said, what are the draft week plans here, and what are the parting shots for the listening audience at home before we let you go? Is he on mute? I think you might be muted. Did we?
Hello?
There you go. Yep.
Oh, can you say that one more time, please?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say before we let you go, what are the draft week plans here? And then parting shot for all the listening people at home.
Man, hopefully I can be with the family and when everything goes down. I'll be in Little Rock. I have my girlfriend, my family, and we all be together, and hopefully everything plans out and we'll just see how it goes. I mean, I'm not the type of guy that I don't want to get my hopes up like that, so I just go with the flow.
Hey, I can relate to that, man. Remember, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. We're looking forward to seeing where you land. And TJ, thank you so much for waking up with us on the State of Football, part of the Fan Nation Network on Sports Illustrated. We'll catch up with you.
No, thank you for having me.
All right, there you have it. TJ Hammonds, everybody, make sure you remember the name. He will be in a camp come August competing for one of those 53-man roster spots because, Amanda, the more you can do, the more valuable you are. You heard him say it. He can do it all. He's a Debo 2.0, man, for real. Like, that's the big buzz for this year's draft. Like, everybody's trying to find that unique playmaker because, like, let's be honest, like, that was what got San Francisco on that little playoff run there, was kind of switching things up. And I think that's going to be like the latest trend and fad to enter the NFL here in 2022.
Yeah, and it sounds like he's on track to make that happen, and I'm really excited for him and his journey, and he seems like he's very level-headed, and he's a leader in the industry, so I'm excited to see where he goes and what he does. So he'll be super successful, and we got to talk to him first before he blew up, so very pumped.
Yeah, and big shout out to Michael Langley, too, 8760 Sports Management, who's also been on the State of Football. Maybe we'll have him on at some point in the show with the agent perspective. But this is the State of Football. It's real football talk, not that powder puff fluff you see circulating around on some of these other networks. But hey, we're going to have you covered all week long at the NFLDraftBible.com. We have over 600 scouting reports going on over there. Of course, Albert Breer and myself will be, reacting during the draft, before the draft, after the draft. I saw the question in the chat room, where's my final mock draft? It's coming, baby. I just finished it last night. I got to write out all the analysis as to why I made these selections now, but I'll give you a little sneak peek preview. As of now, I have Trayvon Walker, the Georgia defensive lineman, going number 1 overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I believe that Aiden Hutchinson, who was on the NFL Network last night talking about, man, it's going to be nice when we win in Detroit. I think the cat is out of the bag. Sharp money out there in Vegas. Tommy Goodhines coming in on Trayvon Walker to go number 1 overall. So I think it's Walker. I think the Michigan defensive end Hutchinson at 2. And then, hey, we've got pretty good source here at the NFL Draft Bible that Derek Stingley to the Houston Texans at number 3. And don't you know, Amanda, I went to the Sportsbook app just for shits and giggles to see what the odds were. And don't you know, suddenly Derek Stingley is now the favorite to be the number 3 overall pick.
Everything I've been looking at online, honestly, I was just like, that is exactly it. Stingley at 3. So I was like, you're right on par with what everyone's saying. I know it's been changing so much, like daily. Like you said, this is kind of like an erratic draft kind of like situation, mock draft, where everyone's like changing up where everyone's going. But he's a solid 3 across the board. So we'll have to stick with that.
Yeah, and as much unpredictability and volatility that we've had up until this point, when I was doing my mock, I was like, you know what? I think the top of the draft is finally coming into clarity. Like, I think it's Walker, Hutchinson, Stingley, and I believe that the Jets are going to make Kayvon Thibodeau the number 4 overall pick. I just can't believe like the potential best player in the draft sitting there staring you in the face, and you've been in the bottom of the basement of the NFL for it feels like 2 decades. Like I just have a hard time believing that they're going to pass that young man up. Now, his personality, that was the big kind of ruckus he made at the podium interview out in Indianapolis, because he kind of called out the Giants. He's like, Giants are giving me a hard time, asking me about, playing on the big stage, Broadway. How am I going to react when people on Twitter start getting on me? Like, come on, man. Come on, bro. Like, I'm from LA, man. So, it'll be interesting to see kind of that combination.
Yeah, 100%. So a lot of the stuff I've been reading, like they kind of put people have been put Thibodeau down. So like not in the first 5 picks. So I was kind of confused with that because I think he's an amazing athlete. Could be because of that confidence. I don't want to say attitude, but I feel like this is the type of players that were coming in with a lot more confidence. Like you said, they're growing up with social media. So they're constantly being like patted on the back, being like, you're amazing. Um, I didn't grow up with that. So I still kind of like, I just don't have that same type of confidence. So good for him or whatever's going to happen. I just think he's still going to be drafted in the first 5 picks. So like you said.
Yeah, and wouldn't it be something like, and it is the Jets, right? And they've debacled the draft so many times, but could you imagine like you bypass Kayvon Thibodeau, and then the Giants are picking 5 and 7, and they take them with one of those picks? Like, you'll never, with your fan base, you will never live that down. And I just think it's too much of a risk. And I think there's a double standard too, because like he's a defensive lineman, like Baldy said. Like, dude, I played against Bruce Smith. Like, he ain't acting like that. But like when Sauce Gardner comes out and says I'm the best player in the draft, they just kind of like the media just kind of shrugs. Oh, he's a cornerback. He's kind of a diva. Who cares? But like Kayvon Thibodeau says I'm the best player in the draft, and it's like, oh, he's so arrogant. Oh man, he's so conceited. It's like, come on, guys. I will say, I have the Giants. From my understanding, they brought in Charles Cross, the Mississippi State offensive tackle. Brian Baldinger likes Evan Neal. I think Evan Neal checks off all the boxes. I think there's a real scenario, though. The Giants brought in Charles Cross, put him through a battery of right tackle drills, and they already have Andrew Thomas at left tackle. So I think there's a real possibility where you could see Charles Cross from Mississippi State go to the Giants at 5, and then the Carolina Panthers would have no choice but to pull the trigger on Evan Neal out of Alabama at 6. And then I think the Giants come back at 7. They want to, by the way, the Giants want to trade their whole roster. They're looking to trade James Bradbury. They're looking to trade Kadarius Toney. They want to trade Darius Slayton. Oh, by the way, Saquon Barkley's available too. I'm sure they'll be willing to deal the 7th overall pick. But if not, because Bradbury goes bye-bye, I think that's where you get your Sauce Gardner at number 7, because he's that big-bodied cornerback. He is the younger, cheaper addition of Bradbury. So that's my top 7. And then it gets a little bit dicey. Like, you got the Falcons at 8 and the Seahawks at 9, and then the Jets back at 10. I could really see, I'm hearing Atlanta's going to take a wide receiver. I could see the Falcons and the Jets be where the first 2 wide receivers come off the board, because they got to get Zach Wilson, a playmaker, with the Jets. And obviously the Falcons are going to be without Julio Jones due to his gambling shenanigans. I think he's banned for the season. And, number 9, Seattle's always a wild card. But I'll tell you right now, I've got Jermaine Johnson, Florida State defensive end. So there you go. I did that all off the top of my head, folks. Okay, come on. No sleep, rattling it off. Like, you're just going to have to go to the website later for all 32 selections, but that's not Calvin Ridley. Thank you for the correction, not Julio Jones. I don't want to tarnish Julio Jones, but Calvin Ridley, he got called out. Did you see that story, by the way, where he when he was suspended or he was injured one week last year during the regular season, they caught him on the FanDuel app or whatever sports book. You know, he bet like $1,200 on some parlays, and now he's out for the year.
Yeah, that was quite an interesting story. So I don't know how that kind of like teaches everyone else not to do that, or I don't know what all kind of happened with that, but that was an interesting story that
It
broke.
should teach everybody to go find yourself somebody else to download the app for you.
Yeah. Like what's the ultimate lesson in this? Like to stay away or just to get somebody else to download? I was tiptoeing around it, so yeah.
Hey, let's keep it real. Like, Calvin, come on, brother. I'm in
Just be
Jersey.
a
Give me a
little
call.
more discreet. Yeah.
Yeah, like I got you, bro. Western Union it, okay?
Yeah.
Rick Serritella, along with Amanda Ruller, here on the State of Football, having a good time, chopping it up, breaking it down. We are going to have Bobby Greco here, hopefully, coming up, our last cleanup hitter of the day. And he's been doing some great coverage over on the NFL draftbible.com, along with all the familiar. I forgot to give Howard Balzer a shout out, too, because he's really, the man that keeps us all in check, keeps us all in line. And, working with Howard, man, is just an honor because he was part of the first ever NFL draft broadcast before Mel Kiper. Howard Balzer was the ESPN analysis for the first couple of drafts there. And so we're lucky to have him on our staff here at the NFL Draft Bible. We'll be popping him on, I think, all 3 days of the draft, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're going to have a Balzer hit. He's going to hop on, give us that kind of NFL insider perspective. And he's so tapped in to the community. We lost a good friend too, a mutual friend in John Clayton recently. Big shout out to John Clayton because, man, John was so cool. He'd always he graduated from Duquesne, so I would always see him at the combine and be like, "Hey, who's Duquesne got this year?" Like some obscure prospect that he wanted to know about. But like, back in the early days, and I'm talking about early 2000s, mid 2000s, NFL Draft Bible happened to be on Yahoo Sports very early on in our birth because there just wasn't really a lot of NFL draft websites out there doing this kind of thing. And so I'd actually pop on to the ESPN radio draft coverage every year when it was held in New York. And I would I wasn't a host, I'd be a guest, but they would have me on for like an hour. I think usually it was like the last day of the draft because they're probably like, "Hey man, who the heck's getting picked? Let's get Serritella over here to talk about it." But I remember I used to go on with John Clayton and Vinny Serrato all the time. And like here I was in like my mid-20s, some twerp like John Clayton, he didn't have to acknowledge me or use my information, but he would always seek me out at the draft. Like they have Mel Kiper Jr. What do they need me for? And he would always seek me out at the draft and make sure he had my latest book and be referencing it there. And so RIP John Clayton, there he is, man, one of the best to ever do it. And I'll tell you what, man, this media business is evolving rapidly, and guys like John Clayton, guys like Howard Balzer, it's not that kind of industry anymore. And I go on Jody Mack all the time and his co-host, John McMullen, who, oh, by the way, I'll be on their show tomorrow morning at 8:20 a.m. Eastern time before the State of Football. Make sure you check out the broadcast Eagles 365 with Johnny Mack and Jody Mack. But it was just a different way that media was covered. There wasn't social media, so that you had a more personable relationship. And it's funny because as we have all this access and social media pollution, I call it, it's almost like GMs, coaches, they're even more with their guard up. Like back in the day, you didn't have to worry about all this stuff leaking out and circulating around social media. You could have those private conversations and get some good scoops. Now, man, it's hard. Like the reason why Schefter and these guys, Tom Pelissero, like you see them all like breaking news at the same time because the agent just feeds these guys to the biggest platform. They want the NFL Network and ESPN to break the news. And it's like, dude, I go out to the Giants beat or practice, and like these guys hang around the facility all day long, every day. They can't break the stories. It's some guy sitting at home in their basement, literally, or their in-home broadcast studio. Like, they're not even on location, and they're beating the beat writers to the scoop. And I don't know where I went with that whole rambling thing, except that I wanted to give John Clayton a little bit of time. We gave a shout out to Daryl LaMonica yesterday, the Mad Bomber. And man, that's what this great game of football is all about, is honoring those who came before us and paving a way for those who come behind us, like Amanda Ruller, the trailblazer here, doing huge things and dropping a mega announcement on us for Friday. So we'll give Bobby 2 more minutes or so, because I think he was scheduled for 11:30, right, Samantha? So we'll give him a couple more minutes, see if we pop him on. If not, I guess, we'll take a commercial break. Good call. Come right back after this.
You can't become an agent without passing the exam. We can help. We introduced our first practice test in 2012. Since then, we've added a study guide and a second exam, and we've helped hundreds pass a test that 55% fail. Our clients succeed at a rate 25% higher than others. For the cost of a plane ticket, you can buy our guide and take both our exams multiple times. Check us out.
At FitGamer, we implement a program that we've developed over decades of training, studying, and teaching sports science, and years of working with professional, traditional, and esport athletes. The scheduling and cadence of workouts, yoga, meditation, mental conditioning, nutrition, sleep, and lifestyle activities are based on what we have done with various teams and individuals since 2018. We respect effort. We respect intensity. At FitGamer, what is important is progress and improvement. The FitGamer workouts are designed specifically for cognitive esport athletes, and we understand the pain points of gamers and the need to physically maintain the body and stimulate the brain in order to achieve optimal in-game performance. It is our mission to optimize gaming performance by maximizing human potential, and FitGamer helps us achieve this goal. Come join us.
I'm J.R. Davis. I'm the Executive Director of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northwest Georgia. We serve about 3,000 kids in Northwest Georgia. And I just wanted to say thank you to the NFL Draft Bible for showcasing our organization and the thousands of kids we serve and our STEAM Academy. And we are hoping to have a long-standing partnership with you and get a lot of our kids involved in this analytics, data analytics, and pursue a successful future in their career.
Back at it again. RIC and I'm pleased to be Rick Serritella, talent like it is when it comes to the NFL draft and everything football. It's your home for real football talk in the mornings. And boy, oh boy, the NFL draft is just one day away. I can't believe it. In fact, we are about 32 hours and 17 minutes away to be exact, Amanda. And I know our next guest has been waiting anxiously and breaking it down all year long over on the NFLDraftBible.com. He's making his State of Football debut here this morning. He is Bobby Greco checking in with us today. Good morning, Bobby. How are you, my man?
Good. How are you, Rick? Samantha, how are you?
We're doing awesome. We're joined by Amanda Ruller. Samantha's behind the scenes producing. I get confused. I'm calling Samantha Amanda, and she looks at me with the dirty look like, really? Okay. So you're not the first to do it, Bobby, but appreciate you taking the time, my man, and look forward to hearing some of the players that you're going to highlight for us here today. Tell everybody at home what you've been doing and what you've been contributing to the NFL Draft Bible.
I've been writing about the NFL rookies all season long, and the past couple months I've been scouting the players coming up in this draft and doing draft articles. I just put one out on the underrated players who I think are going to be studs coming up in this NFL season. So that's really it. Just been banging out some articles and scouting these upcoming players.
Well, that's kind of how I made my backbone in the business, was covering some of those under the radar guys, identifying some of those players who might go on day 3 or even undrafted. Look at TJ Hammonds, Weston Elliott, two guys that I really like we had on the show here today.
Absolutely.
Julius Chestnut is no guarantee, and I know that's a guy you've written about, Bobby. So
yeah, I love Julius Chestnut. I think he's a great player, can do it all. It's just one of those situations going to the smaller school, he doesn't get enough looks.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. So Julius Chestnut is a guy we both like. Who are some of your other under the radar prospects?
A receiver I really like, and they really think he's going to go undrafted, and I don't know why, because he had a great NFLPA Bowl week, was Khalil Pimpleton from Central Michigan. I think he's fantastic. He's a great route runner and has really good breakaway speed. So I think he's a player that, people really got to look out for. Defensively, I really like JT Woods from Baylor, and I think he's a little raw, but anytime you watched a Baylor game, he was making plays. So I'm really into those two. Skill position wise.
No, I like that. Khalil Pimpleton, by the way, I believe in his bowl game performance, he had a rushing touchdown, receiving touchdown, and kick return touchdown. He scored 3 different ways. That's the type of speed burner mentality.
He did awesome.
Yeah,
he was doing awesome.
Unbelievable talent. Unbelievable he didn't get an invite to the NFL Scouting Combine, because I think he would have been one of, if not the fastest players in attendance if he did get the call to ball out there. Talking to Bobby Greco making his State of Football debut. That makes 2 of us here with Rick Serritella, Amanda Ruller. Amanda, where do you want to go with Bobby here today?
Oh, I guess so much to dissect, but who would be kind of like a late first round sleeper for you? Because you're really good at analyzing these guys and figuring this out.
A late first round sleeper.
Yeah.
I think that the lineman out of, oh my God, it just slipped my mind. Memphis, sorry, Daryl Parham.
Good one.
He has, or Dylan Parham, sorry. He has really played 3 different positions over his career. He started as a tight end, and he just shows a ton of versatility. And I really like Memphis's offense from the past couple years. I think they've been explosive, and he reminds me of a Jason Peters. Because of that tight end background, he has the athleticism, and he's someone that I think could sneak in the back end of that draft or of the first round.
Yeah.
No, that's a great call right there. Dylan Parham, the Memphis offensive line. Amanda, I knew you liked the measurables. Go check out that guy's times and what he tested for
It
a
was
300
amazing.
pounder. Yeah,
I
no
will.
doubt about it.
I don't think I know them, so I'm actually glad you said that because I'm gonna go on here and look at all his
Yeah.
stats.
I look at linemen a lot. That's what I've coached for most of my career, so I love
Well,
looking at linemen.
we got a D-line coach. We got a DB coach. We got everything going on here on the State of Football, part of the Fan Nation Network on Sports Illustrated, presented by NFLDraftBible.com, and one of those NFL Draft Bible contributors, Bobby Greco, joining us here right now on the State of Football live and in color. It's so cool to finally get Bobby on the show. You mentioned JT Woods out of Baylor. You know, I don't know if you were tuned in earlier to the show. Brian Baldinger was on here singing his praise as well. And, you know, everybody talks about Jalen Petrie, because he is a potential first round pick.
He's very good too.
And so, like, Baylor could have two safeties that climb into the top 100 here at the end of the day. I had a chance to talk to Dave Aranda, the Baylor head coach at the Maxwell Club a couple weeks back, and he ranted and raved about both of those guys. And I think they're about two of the well, Petrie is clean on and off the field. I know you mentioned Woods is a little bit more raw, but man, these guys have pristine character.
Yeah, they really do. Woods was in the NFLPA Bowl, right?
Yes,
and
we had him out there. Yep.
I thought it was him. And I remember watching the game, and he had a big interception, and you could just see, you know, it's tough in all-star games when you have so many different colleges to get that real team feel. But, like, when he got that interception, everyone was so excited. And that was one thing I noticed, thinking of, like, you know, in that short week, he's already got all those different players had his, you know, so excited for him. So I think that showed great leadership just right there.
Yeah, and I think Baldinger mentioned like 13 turnovers in 9 games this past season. So you know, you did a great job. Yeah. You did a great job. I was going to say covering the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl with us, and of course, along with myself and Lorenz Lineweber, you were kind of keeping tabs on the NFL PA Bowl invites during the season leading up to the event. And then I know also you were kind of tracking them during their pro day travels and performances. So I know you got a couple of favorites from the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. Who are they?
I really liked the kid from Jackson State, James Houston. I think he's very underrated. Very good pass rusher. If he can get into the right situation, you know, he reminds me of the other Houston pass rusher because who's in the NFL now, Justin Houston, because they're same build, same skill set, and I think, you know, they could have a very similar career if he gets in the right situation. And I also like.
Well, right there on Houston, I want to follow up on that because, you know, that was what scouts were talking about, kind of like, how do we use, like, because he played some off-ball linebacker in the All-Star game and did something a little bit different than what scouts were kind of used to seeing him do. So I think they're kind of still trying to figure out how to use him at the next level.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be, you know, it might take him a couple years just because of that. You know, he's kind of that tweener in size, so you don't know if he's going to be an outside linebacker, a D lineman. But I think if he can be in the right situation, he's going to make plays. You know, he's got a great motor, and I think you know, he's just one of those guys who can do it.
No doubt about it. Bobby Greco breaking it down, chopping it up with the best of them. Rick Serritella, Amanda Ruller, Samantha behind the scenes. Winding down. It's been a buckle up 2 hours of power here on the State of Football Expanded Edition. Last question for Bobby, Amanda, before we wrap things up.
Yeah, I guess because you have such a professional eye for what's happening here with these athletes, and it's been changing quite a bit online, like who's going to go in the first 5, who would be your number 1 and maybe number 2?
So, situationally, for Jacksonville, if I was their front office, I would go Sauce Gardner. I think
Wow.
the defense.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
I
that for
think they
scheme and
have
fit, or is that because you think he's the best player, Bobby?
a little of both. I think, they have Josh Allen, they have decent pass rushers. I don't know if Aiden Hutchinson is the right choice for them, and I think he's the clear favorite in my opinion. But that position that they need is that number one corner. They don't have Jalen Ramsey anymore. And one thing that isn't talked about enough to me is Sauce Gardner literally has never given up a touchdown in his college career. That is just absurd to me. And I think, why not? Why not pick him? You can have a lockdown guy who just is the star of your defense for the next decade. So, in my opinion, I go Sauce Gardner.
It's a different take. That's a hot take, but
Hey.
we're playing with gas over here on the State of
Right.
Football this morning.
So we ask the experts over here. Yeah.
No, I tend to say that is an impressive stat line though. And Cincinnati, I mean, these guys were lighting up the scoreboard. I mean, some of these shootouts they were in, and Gardner never gave up a touchdown, and he brings that kind of flair too to the cornerback position. He doesn't lack
really
for any confidence, right, Bobby?
No, absolutely not. I mean, you know him. You know where he is on the field.
Yeah, he's gonna let you know.
Yeah, for
if
sure.
you don't know, he'll let you know.
He'll let you know. But he backs it up, so I like it about him.
Yeah, a lot of people can talk that junk, but can they talk the talk or walk the walk? And I'm curious. We're going to be breaking it down. I know we'll have you contributing to the NFL Draft Bible.com throughout the draft week, man. And you see the Zach Petros says, hey, that's a saucy take. I'll be dabbling with all kinds of wing sauces during the draft. And what do you got planned for the upcoming draft, Bobby? You're going to be watching ESPN broadcast. You're going to be watching the NFL Network. They got all these different simulcasts. Good Morning America
I'll
now is doing.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. They got Good Morning America's doing a show.
Wow.
I'll probably go NFL Network. That's usually my go-to.
So are you a Daniel Jeremiah guy? Because I kind of like Mel Kiper. I think Mel Kiper does a really good job. And I like Daniel Jeremiah too. I was a fan of Mike Mayock on TV when he was there.
Yeah, me too. I like NFL Network's coverage more. It's not generally about who's doing it. I just think they highlight the players more and are less talky, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the NFL Network does give you a little bit better coverage. Like, I'm a big day 3 guy, and what hurts me to death, like ESPN's still talking about the first round picks on day 3, and it's like there you just saw like 10 picks scroll across the board. It's like, guys, come on, get it together.
Exactly.
Call me.
That's my thought.
Call Bobby.
Yeah, right. I'm here. I'm here for it.
We're ready to go. Buckle up.
I'll get a hold of Berman. He'll let me on.
There we go. So, all right, Bobby, where are you checking in from today? I forget where you're based out of.
I'm out of Geneva, New York. It's right by Rochester. So I'm up in upstate. It's in the Finger Lakes if you've been over on that area.
Yeah, not too far from Syracuse, Buffalo, Albany out there. Yeah,
literally right in the middle of all of it.
There you go. Yeah. All right. So, all right. Well, parting shot for the people before we wrap things up. What do you want to tell the listening audience at home, all the people tuned in watching our show? Great job out of you here today. Hopefully, we'll have you on again during the draft, after the draft, getting your reactions. Give the listening audience at home a little parting shot.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to be on it anytime during the draft. Just let me know. Check me out. Follow me at Bobby Greco. I'm sure I'll have. I'll definitely have stuff up during the draft. I know I have an article coming out about the Bills draft picks, so I'll definitely have some stuff coming out in the next couple days. Well, hopefully I'll be on again soon.
Yeah, we'll get you back on, and I know our residential Bills fan, Ralph Ventry, will be keeping a lookout for the Buffalo article there. So, hey, Bobby, appreciate the time, man. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll do it again soon sometime. What do you think about that?
Definitely. Just let me know.
All right, there you have it. Bobby Greco, NFL Draft Bible contributor here. Rick Serritella, Amanda Ruller, bringing you 2 hours of power today on the State Football part of the Fanation Network on Sports Illustrated, presented by NFLDraftBible.com, your home for real football talk. Amanda, you tired of me yet?
Not at all. Today was a bit. We have this next weekend. I'm ready for some of the drafted, kind of like hype, but for a bit.
Yeah, we went alien mode for you. I sounded in the audio. Hey, we got through the show for 2 hours. I'll take it if the last 2 minutes go haywire. But we're looking forward to the big announcement on Friday. I can't wait to see what that brings. And who knows when the State of Football will be back. But I know that when we do come back, Amanda will be here on Wednesday. There goes my audio now. I sound like a freaking alien. So we're going to wrap things up. For Amanda Ruller, Rick Serritella, Samantha behind the scenes, and all our guests, buckle up. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Ah!